This woman should be in jail. Literally, Hillary Clinton should be behind bars. And so should the people who worked for her who did this. This is so blatantly corrupt. She wanted to distract from her email scandal. She cooked up a plan to accuse Trump of being a Russian agent in order to distract from her own legitimate scandal.
Meanwhile, we're still waiting for accountability on the whole Russia collusion made-up story.
Yes.
Now that DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, has released all of those classified documents, we're actually seeing who was behind all of this. Do you want to see indictments?
I absolutely want to see indictments, Maria. Look, of course, you got to have the law follow the facts here. You don't just indict people to indict people. You indict people because they broke the law.
Few politicians represent defeat like Hillary Clinton, and Megyn Kelly with J.D. Vance dissect her thoroughly. They reveal how her justifications, calculated rebrandings, and fixation on fate transformed her into the epitome of political privilege. She wasn't a trailblazer, she was a cautionary tale, losing to Donald Trump despite every edge and refusing to retreat quietly. Hillary's true legacy is not groundbreaking, but history's punchline, and Kelly and Vance ensure that truth is irrefutable.
Disgusted. I'm disgusted. To me, this seems fucking blatantly political. Forgive me. Sorry. And it's upsetting me.
What is going on?
It's just disgusting, Arthur. The Hillary Clinton juxtaposition is the most compelling one. She scrubbed her servers. She destroyed her cell phones. She had classified information that she did not turn over. And Comey came out and said, there's no crime.
To try to silence him and shut him up. And then consider, just yesterday, one of the chief surrogates of Kamala Harris's campaign is Hillary Clinton. And you know what Hillary Clinton said yesterday? She said that misinformation should be met with criminal penalties. That we ought to throw people in jail and silence them if they say something that Hillary Clinton disagrees with.
Hillary Clinton is the political specter that won't vacate the premises. Megyn Kelly dismantles her legacy with surgical precision, exposing the emptiness behind the meticulously crafted image. Hillary was meant to be inevitable, the anointed queen of American politics, the woman destined to break the ultimate glass ceiling. Instead, she became the most iconic emblem of failure in contemporary political history, the politician who lost despite a rulebook tailored to her advantage.
Hillary Clinton is back, doing a late night tour. She had some thoughts on this boiling down to Trump versus Biden again.
Get over yourself. Those are the two choices.
Yeah, love that.
Right? And you know, one is old and effective and compassionate, has a heart, and really cares about people. And one is old and has been charged with 91 felonies.
Megyn Kelly finds humor in Hillary's utter failure to convey genuineness. Every attempt at reinvention resembled a branding exercise more than a human transformation. She was the practical centrist when Wall Street funded her, the feminist advocate when students rallied, the warm grandmother when suburban women needed wooing, and the progressive champion when activists held sway. But the issue with Hillary is that she was all these personas on paper and none in truth. Every role felt borrowed, every phrase focus grouped, and every chuckle rehearsed. Kelly mocks her for being less a leader than a lab-crafted prototype of a politician's appearance.
Hillary Clinton decided to weigh in on this snub. Greta and Margot, while it can sting to win the box office but not take home the gold, your millions of fans love you. You're both so much more than Ken-O. Is that a reference to the movie? I didn't see it. And then here's the capper. At the end, hashtag Hillary Barbie. She's trying to make that a thing. Some of the reaction online to this, I love this. Clearly, Greta and Margot should have campaigned in Michigan and Wisconsin. Hashtag
J.D. Vance strikes hard, portraying Hillary as the personification of political entitlement. She viewed the presidency as her birthright, not due to her policies or vision, but because she'd lingered in power's halls long enough to claim it. Vance notes that Hillary approached politics as if America were a monarchy where her marriage to Bill guaranteed her eventual crowning. She acted less like a candidate seeking votes and more like a sovereign scolding subjects for not kneeling. Swiftly enough.
But if you look at what Tulsi and Kash Patel have revealed in the last couple of weeks, I don't know how anybody can look at that and say that there wasn't aggressive violations of the law. What they basically did is they defrauded the American people in order to take Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points and turn them into intelligence by defrauding the American people, defrauding the intelligence.
Kelly underscores the ridiculousness of Hillary's endless excuses. After losing in 2016 to Donald Trump, now the sitting president, Hillary embarked on the world's longest play marathon. Russia misogyny, social media memes, James Comey, even the climate. Everyone and everything was faulted except Hillary Clinton. Kelly ridicules her for making accountability a foreign term. In her mind, she was always the brightest in the room, betrayed by history, misjudged by the public, undermined by forces beyond her grasp. The notion that her own hubris, deceit, or lack of charm might have cost her never crossed her mind.
How dare she? She puts out this tweet, and it's a picture of her, a much younger Hillary, and the caption on the hat reads, "But her emails." And she writes in her tweet, "Bringing this back in light of recent news. Get a limited edition But Her Emails hat and support Onward Together groups working to strengthen our democracy." The nerve of this woman to have committed federal crimes and to have gotten off because James Comey didn't have the spine to bring it.
Vance delves deeper, exposing how Hillary's career unveiled the duplicity of the political elite. She claimed to advocate for workers while forging bonds with Wall Street tycoons who devastated middle America. She professed to uplift women while harshly dismissing those who accused Bill Clinton of misconduct. She preached about climate change while jetting globally on private planes. Hillary's image was built on moral high ground, but her actions were a series of contradictions that undermined every slogan she championed. Kelly finds humor in Hillary's persistent awkwardness. Every bit to seem relatable became a viral fiasco. From the hot sauce purse stunt to dabbing on Ellen, Hillary was like the ant trying too hard to be hip, embarrassing herself at the family gathering. Kelly highlights the comedy in watching a multimillionaire, far removed from ordinary life, pretend she was just like everyone else. It wasn't merely inauthentic, it insulted voters' intelligence.
They would take something that supported a Hillary Clinton campaign talking point and they would overemphasize it and exaggerate it. They took anything that actually contradicted that narrative and they buried it deep. And through that, they actually laundered Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign talking points through the American intelligence services. That's a violation of the people's trust. That's a violation of what our intelligence services should be doing. And I absolutely think they broke the law. And you're going to see a lot of people get indicted for that.
J.D. Vance draws on his middle American roots to highlight the disconnect. Hillary's speeches about understanding working-class struggles felt empty to communities she rarely visited. Her empathy was filtered through advisors, donors, and elite fundraisers. Vance depicts her as the epitome of coastal elitism, an Ivy League creation who viewed flyover country as alien territory. That disconnect explains why she could never spark genuine enthusiasm, no matter how much money or media backed her campaigns. Megyn Kelly emphasizes the irony. Hillary Clinton had everything a politician could dream of: name recognition, decades of experience, loyal operatives, support from a popular president in Barack Obama, a massive campaign fund, and full media and cultural elite backing. Yet she lost to Donald Trump, who lacked those advantages. Kelly frames this not as a fluke, but as a clear condemnation of Hillary herself. You don't lose with such firepower unless you're fundamentally flawed at politics.
Hillary Clinton, of course, is the original election denier.
Well, she's not an election denier.
She absolutely was the OG election denier.
She came out to concede the election to Trump.
And then spent the next 4 years saying he was illegitimate.
She didn't say he was an illegitimate.
Yes, she did.
You tell me exactly what she said.
She said those exact words repeatedly.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president.
Okay.
As
She
done.
came out that night.
She
in
conceded the
dark
election
purple,
and then
something
spent the
Donald-
next 4 years trying to convince us it was not legitimate.
You can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
Hillary Clinton wasn't merely a weak candidate. She embodied a broken system. She represented the hubris of elites who thought they could engineer consent, believing voters were obliged to accept her because the establishment decreed it. But 2016 shattered that delusion, leaving Hillary as the monument to its collapse. Instead of becoming the first woman president, she became the politician who proved inevitability is a myth. Kelly digs into Hillary's refusal to exit gracefully. Every few months, she reappears with a new remark, critique, or hint that she deserved the presidency. It's political haunting. She's the guest, lingering at the party, clutching a drink, reminiscing about her glory days. The more she insists she was right, the more she solidifies her error. Kelly notes that Hillary has become less a politician and more a caricature, grasping for relevance as the world moves forward.
Weighed in publicly again on why she lost. And just in case you were thinking it was because she didn't go to Wisconsin, you are wrong. It is you, women of America. It is your fault. She now sits down for an interview and decides that the reason she didn't win is American females. That they didn't like that she wasn't perfect.
J.D. Vance sharpens his critique with historical context. He likens Hillary to leaders who mistook power for fate, only to be undone by their own arrogance. Her downfall wasn't due to lacking resources, but lacking authenticity. Vance emphasizes that today's voters forgive almost anything except inauthenticity, and Hillary exuded phoniness in every speech, ad, and staged photo. Ultimately, voters didn't just reject her, they rejected what she represented: entitlement, arrogance, and elitism, masked as leadership. Megyn Kelly targets Hillary's feminist branding. She marketed herself as the ultimate women's champion, but her record betrayed her. Her attacks on Bill's accusers, her silence on abuses in her circle, and her selective outrage when politically expedient turned her feminism into a hollow slogan. Kelly mocks Hillary for wielding feminism as a tool when useful and discarding it when inconvenient. For women seeking a true role model, Hillary was a letdown, not an inspiration.
We should really bother the American people. What do you want our intelligence community to be doing? I want them to be catching bad guys. I want them to be making sure that terrorists aren't going to kill innocent American civilians. I don't want them laundering Hillary Clinton's campaign talking points into the American media and giving them this air of legitimacy. It is sick and it's disgusting. It hurt the intelligence community, it hurt the American people, and it hurt the first Trump administration.
Megyn Kelly concludes the roast by highlighting Hillary's legacy or lack thereof. Decades in politics, endless headlines, countless appearances, yet what endures? Not major reforms, not unifying leadership, not a clear vision for the future. What remains is a politician who believed the presidency was her right and years later still can't accept that voters disagreed. Hillary Clinton's legacy isn't breaking barriers but proving that arrogance, no matter how well funded or marketed, always fails. Kelly and Vance together dismantle Hillary not just as a failed candidate but as a flawed concept. The notion that power belongs to elites, the notion that branding trumps authenticity, the notion that destiny outweighs democracy. Hillary's career rested on these, and all collapsed spectacularly. Thus, the roast leaves her where she's been since 2016, on the outside convinced history aired, while the world laughs at the irony of a woman who had everything yet ended with nothing but excuses.
And now, because it's Donald Trump, who, by the way, had the power to declassify, unlike Hillary, and he looks like he's regaining steam to recapture this nomination, he's got to be charged. And it looks like he's probably going to be charged in Georgia, too. That's the third. That would be the third indictment. And Jack Smith may have a fourth indictment up his sleeve because he's investigating him for Jan 6th, too.
The oddest part of Hillary Clinton's saga is how she speaks as if the nation secretly awaits her return. Vance mocks this delusion, noting that she treats every speech, podcast, or interview like an audition for a role no one's offering. She misses the ridicule following her reinvention attempts. Instead, she believes that repeating herself louder and more often will bend history to her will. But history doesn't reward persistence without authenticity, it punishes it. And Hillary is the prime example. J.D. Vance distinguishes between ambition and obsession. Ambition can build nations, but obsession ruins reputations. Hillary crossed that line long ago. She's no longer pursuing the presidency but seeking validation. Every excuse, book, or public appearance is less about politics and more about convincing herself she deserved what voters withheld. Her post-2016 career has become a public therapy session, with the world forced to hear her process her loss.
And here's the thing. If you're willing, my friends, if you are willing to throw a person in jail because you disagree with what they say, then you're going to be willing to put a bullet in their head too. So the Democrats, I call on every leader in this country, not just tone down the rhetoric, but tone down the censorship. Let's have a debate with one another. That's what Americans do. Stop trying to silence people you disagree with. And I think if we have that debate, if we have that conversation, I really believe that the American people are going to make Donald J. Trump the next president of the United States. But it's not going to happen.
Kelly wields her sharp humor to debunk the image of Hillary as a sexism victim. Was sexism in politics real? Absolutely. But Megyn notes that sexism didn't make Hillary align with Wall Street. It didn't force her to delete thousands of emails. It didn't compel her to barely campaign in Wisconsin and Michigan. It didn't cause her to dismiss scandals with a tone that seemed detached. These were her decisions, her flaws, her consequences. Blaming it all on sexism isn't just dishonest, it insults the intelligence of women who expected better. Vance explores the broader cultural rejection of Hillary. Her defeat wasn't just about one election, it was a referendum on a political style Americans were tired of. The era of carefully curated candidates with consultant-crafted slogans and poll-driven sound bites was fading. Hillary was the last major product of that declining system. When voters chose Trump, they weren't just rejecting her, they were rejecting the establishment she embodied. Vance stresses that Hillary wasn't a victim of bad luck, but the ideal symbol of everything people wanted to dismantle.
Two, speaking of Hillary, her op-ed, which is really pretty spectacular in the New York Times. First of all, my team just showed me this. Have you seen the cover for her new book? It's something lost, something gained. Gained is with a Freudian slip. And I like the amount of retouching on this face I haven't seen since, Joan Rivers had her 15th surgery. God love Joan. I don't know what she's trying to be with this soft focus. My executive producer, Steve Krakauer, is like, she looks nothing like herself. I said,
Kelly adds another layer by mocking Hillary's peculiar fixation on relevance. Whenever a political crisis emerges, she resurfaces with an "I told you so" tone, as if anyone sought her opinion. She aims to be a voice of wisdom but comes off as someone who won't leave the group chat, offering commentary no one reads. Kelly drives the point home by noting that Hillary has gone from a serious political figure to a meme, remembered more for awkward soundbites and failures than for achievements. J.D. Vance concludes his critique by focusing on Hillary's legacy. She won't be remembered as the first woman president, but as the woman who proved inevitability is a myth. She had every advantage a candidate could want, yet she couldn't connect with voters because they saw through her facade. Her story warns future politicians. You can't fake authenticity, and you can't claim destiny. If you treat leadership as your birthright, the people will strip it away.